for the protection of the whole created world, and that the king was formed of aspects of 8 deities: Indra, wind; Yama, sun; fire; Varuna, moon; and Kubera. 8 தெய்வங்களால் அரசன் படைக்கப்பட்டிருக்கிறான் என்ற கருத்து மனுதர்ம சாஸ்திரங்கள் மற்ற சாஸ்திரங்கள் சொல்லப்படுகின்றன. Thus, the origin of the kingship has been confirmed in the Brahmanic religion. Kshatriya king was the runner of the network of Vaishnava Varnashrama Dharma. His work and duties were to protect this Varnashrama Dharma. The Brahmana was the master of the Dharma Shastras, including Shrutis and Smritis. His work and duties were to interpret the Shastras and to advise the Kshatriya king to carry out the Varnashrama Dharmic codes. It was believed that all were divinely created and ordered. The Kshatriya king had no option of his own to function and to make any rules. The Hindu king had a political power but no political authority, which was vested with the Brahmanas of the superior caste. The so-called Dharma Shastras, like Manu, were also the authorities which were interpreted by the Brahmanas. Our constitution is the authority now. But in the medieval period and the ancient period, Dharma Shastras were the authorities. This is the kingship of the Vedic Brahmanic religion. That the king was created, the Brahmana was above him, and they advised the king, and he ruled. He protected, the king protected the Varnashram Dharma. This is the situation in the ancient period of the Vedic period, following the Vedic period. Then there is also another concept. This is Vedic concept, and there is another custom also. Buddhist kingship. The next ideology of kingship is of Buddhism. I quote from The World Conqueror and the World Renouncer by Stanley Jayaraj Tambaya of Ceylon. Disorder among the human beings reached its highest point when with the disappearance of spontaneous growth of rice as a result of the greedy hoarding of it. Men divided the rice fields among themselves, settled boundaries, and therefore proceeded to steal each other's plots and engage in lying and censure and punishment. It is this point that human beings gathering themselves together and arguing the need for the selection of a certain king who should be wrathful when indignation is right, who should censure that which should be censured, and should banish him who deserves to be banished. Selected from among themselves the handsomest, the best favored, the most attractive, the most capable, and invited him to be the king in return for their contribution of the portion of the rice. You see, the king has been selected here, but in the Brahmanic religion, he was created by the God according to the Vedic religion, according to Dharma Shastras also. But the Buddhist theory says that the king was selected in order to keep the society in a clean, the peaceful manner. The sequence, then I go to the Buddhism moved further. It had a theory of a total social fact. This totality encompassed the link between the bhikshu and the king. That is also the bhikshu and the king. But the bhikshu is outside the political system. He is not ordering, he is not entering anything, he is not advising or interpreting anything to the king to rule. This is the situation of the Buddhism also. Then the first one is the Vedic concept of kingship. The second one is the Buddhist concept of kingship. Then the third one is also there, that is the Lokayata kingship. Another school of ideology we have to take up is Lokayata. This school of thought was in strong opposition to the Brahmanic and Buddhist ideologies. Brahmanism is atheistic religion. The Brahmanism is a theistic religion. Buddhism is non-theistic. But both advocate these two ideologies both advocate negation of life and renunciation from this world. They have imagined so many worlds above and below. The Lokayata is for affirmation of life in this world. The Lokayata is for the affirmation of life in this world. It has no theism. This material and family life, love and romantic, only are important for Lokayada. Historians nowadays decide that Arthashastras and Kamasastras belong to Lokayada school of thought. These works were away from Varnashrama Dharma. These works are away, they are against Varnashrama Dharma. Therefore, the first kingship is from the Vaidika religion. The second is Buddhism. The third is from Lokayada. Buddhism is a reaction, was in opposition to the Vaidika religion. This Lokayada concept of kingship is totally different. It threw away everything. That is the kingship concept of Buddhism and Vaidikism. The Arthashastra school did not make the origin of kingship divine. The Arthashastra concept of kingship did not make the origin of kingship divine. But the Vaidika religion made the kingship divine. The royal king is divinely created, and he was made of the 8 gods. 8 what is called Thikpalakal the 8 gods. Therefore, the God was divine according to the Vaidika religion. But Buddhism said that he was elected. He was not divine. He was not divinely created. The third one, Arthashastra, is different from these two concepts. The Arthashastra was also called Dandanidhi. The king here did not hesitate to use danda to protect order and to eliminate disorder. The Arthashastra school did not speculate into the origin of kingship. Instead, it talks about the practical difficulties of social, economic and political conditions. The king himself was the political power and political authority. This is an important point. The king himself was the political power and political authority. But according to Vaidika religion, the king has only power but not the authority. The authority was with the Brahmins or the Dharmasastras, like the Constitution of India here now. Thus, we can see different and opposing ideological approaches to the origin and function of kingship in North Indian culture. Now I come to the Tamil culture. The South Indian ancient Tamil country had a different culture. It has been geographically separated by Vindhya range of hills in the north and protected by the seas and protected by the 3 seas and other sides. Racially also, it had preserved its different native features. Its native culture had been nurtured. It was not disturbed in its different social, political and ideological aspects. The ancient Tamil culture was not disturbed in its different social, political and ideological aspects. The history of Tamil country tells that in the ancient period there were 3 well-settled major states, Cholas, Pandyas and Cheras, and some principalities. This period is described as the heroic age. This is the mass. There is a mass of sophisticated poetry composed in the ancient period. They deal with monarchical politics, society and family life, but there is no theorization of these aspects as found in the North India in Dharmasastras, Arthashastras and Kamasastras. There is no ideology of origin and development kingship in Tamil Nadu, but we can get lot of information about the nature, duties and functions of the kings. The ancient Tamil country was secular in culture. It had no particular religion and religiosity. There were some cults of anthropocentric mystic powers like Murugu. The major duty of the kings were protection of the territory and the people, distribution of wealth, patronage of bards, arts, music, dance and economy, etc. The major and important function of the kings of ancient Tamil country was war. There were always conflicts between states and principalities. The ambition was not only protection of the territory, but also the expansion of the territory. Another ambition and aim of the kings of ancient Tamil Nadu were to loot other countries and enrich their own. In these cases, war was a means to do service to the country. War was in need of heroism, and heroism became a socio-political value in that country. By war, the king won victory or met defeat and destruction. The victorious king got rich booty and wealth. Then he distributed this rich wealth to his warriors, subjects, artists, poets and the poor. This became as his duty called Kodai, Vallanmai, Igai, philanthropic charity. The Kodai became an end in the life of the king. War was a means to carry out the charity. The heroic war then turned to be an instrumental value. Charity became an end in value. Charity became an end in value. What the king gained out of the waging of war and duty of charity, what the king gained out of the waging of war and duty of charity, he gained fame, that is glory, called Isai and Pugal. The aim of the king and kingship was to get famed glory in the life and after. Then the glory became as the end value of the kingship. The glorious king lived in Nadugal, memorial tablet. Then what about the values of the heroism and charity?